Let's think a little bit more about the economic interpretation of a derivative. The question says, let C of x, a function, be the cost of removing a percentage of pollution from a lake, expressed in millions of dollars. Give an economic interpretation to C prime 50% equals 3. So we know that the instantaneous rate of change is 3. So if we think of what's the incremental cost of removing 1% of all the pollution in a lake, it's going to cost $3 million. I paused the video for a second to draw this diagram. So on the x-axis, we have pollution removal percentage. So as we move from left to right, a higher percentage of the pollution is removed from the lake. And on the y-axis, we have cost in millions of dollars. C of x is the cost function, and I've just imagined a function which is increasing at an increasing rate. And how would we identify, or what can we learn from looking at this graph? Well, I can identify some point where at the 50%, so we've removed 50% of the pollution from the lake. What would be the additional cost? Well, the additional cost, the instantaneous rate of change, is $3 million. That should be equal to the slope of the cost curve. So if I draw a tangent line at the point on the function associated with 50% pollution removal, the slope of this line is going to be $3 million. So I've gone back and I've showed you a graphical, mathematical explanation for what a derivative is. The economic interpretation is that once you've removed 50% of the pollution from the lake, if you want to remove a little bit more pollution, it's going to cost you $3 million. Marginal analysis is very important in economics. In fact, the value of goods and services can be thought of in terms of its marginal benefit, its marginal value. The value of an item might not depend on the quantity already possessed or the cost of production or its necessity, whether it's a necessity or a luxury. Value depends on the utility, the satisfaction of consuming, possessing an additional unit of a good or service. Here's an example of a mathematical utility function. We can have two different goods or services. Those goods could be apples and oranges, or we could look at, say, food consumption over time. C1, maybe how much we're going to eat today. C2, how much we're going to eat in the future. And we'll look at using those kinds of utility functions, and we'll actually go through them and use them with calculus later in the course. But this idea of marginal benefit, marginal utility, is very important in economics, and we can use it the basis of the value of goods and services. So Adam Smith, a long time ago, was perplexed and never was able to solve or satisfactorily answer the question, why do diamonds cost so much more than clean water? Clean water is a necessity, you need it to live, but diamonds cost much more. And if we ask ourselves, well, would you rather have clean water or diamonds? You would certainly rather have water, clean water. Interested to do an experiment, try not having any water or not drinking anything for 24 hours. It would be a very unpleasant experience. So shouldn't water be more expensive than diamonds since it's more necessary for survival? And the marginal school of thought came along and said, well, no, water should not be more expensive. The reason why diamonds are more expensive is because the marginal benefit from one more diamond is greater than the marginal benefit from one more liter of water. Many people already have a sufficient amount of water for their daily needs. And since they already have a sufficient amount of water for their daily needs, they don't really value an extra liter of water very much. But many people wouldn't mind having more diamonds. They wouldn't like to have some more diamonds, some more diamond jewelry, And so the marginal value people are getting from these diamonds that look good and look pretty and make them feel good is greater than the utility they would get from one more liter of water. Mathematically, we might express this and say, so we could say that the marginal utility of diamonds is greater than the marginal utility of water. These marginalists, they use this idea to explain the value of goods and services. And it's really fundamental to economics and how economists think people make decisions. People don't make decisions based on how much they have. They make decisions at the margin. So they're incremental. Should I choose to spend my money on having a little bit more water, or should I choose to spend my money on having a few more diamonds?